Inflation might seem like just a number on the news, but it directly impacts the real value of your savings, slowly shrinking your money's buying power over time. If your savings aren't growing faster than inflation, you could actually be losing wealth without even realizing it. In this video, we'll explore how inflation affects your hard-earned money and share practical steps you can take to protect and grow your savings in today's economy. Today, we will talk about how inflation is affecting your savings and what to do. So before we start, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe to my channel. 1. Understanding inflation and its basics. Inflation is the rate at which the general level of prices for goods and services rises, eroding purchasing power over time. When inflation occurs, the same amount of money buys fewer goods and services than before. This means that the value of your savings diminishes if it doesn't grow at least as fast as inflation. Central banks often aim for a moderate inflation rate, usually around 2%, as it encourages spending and investing. However, when inflation spikes unexpectedly or remains persistently high, it can have a damaging impact on savers. People holding cash or low-interest savings accounts may find their money losing real value. Understanding inflation's mechanics is crucial for recognizing why traditional savings may not be enough to preserve wealth in the long term. 2. How inflation directly erodes savings. When inflation outpaces the interest earned on savings, the real value of those savings declines. For example, if inflation is 5% annually, but your savings account only yields 1%, the purchasing power of your money effectively shrinks by 4% each year. This loss means that money you save today will buy less in the future. Inflation essentially acts as a hidden tax on your savings. The cumulative effect over several years can be significant, causing erosion in the funds you may have been relying on for future goals like retirement, education, or emergencies. Without proactive management, inflation can quietly undermine financial security by eating away at the value of your nest egg. 3. The impact on different types of savings vehicles. Not all savings vehicles react the same way to inflation. Traditional savings accounts and fixed deposits often offer interest rates below inflation, meaning they lose real value over time. Conversely, inflation-indexed bonds and certain government securities are designed to adjust payouts based on inflation, helping preserve purchasing power. On the other hand, investments like stocks, real estate, or commodities historically tend to keep pace with or exceed inflation, although they carry higher risk. Understanding the inflation sensitivity of each savings type helps you diversify effectively. Choosing the right mix ensures that some of your savings are protected from inflation's erosion, while others provide growth potential. 4. Inflation's psychological and behavioral effects on savers. Inflation does not only affect the numerical value of savings, but also impacts saver psychology and behavior. When people notice prices rising, they may feel anxious and tempted to spend rather than save, fearing their money will lose value sitting idle. This behavior can reduce overall savings rates, negatively affecting long-term financial goals. Conversely, some may overreact by rushing into risky investments, hoping to beat inflation quickly. Educating yourself about inflation's real impact can prevent such knee-jerk decisions. Staying calm, informed, and strategic is essential to managing savings effectively during inflationary periods. 5. Strategies to protect savings against inflation. To shield your savings from inflation, diversification is key. Allocating a portion of your portfolio to inflation-protected securities like Treasury Inflation-Protected Securities, (TIPS), or Series I savings bonds can help. Real assets such as real estate or commodities can also serve as inflation hedges. Additionally, investing in stocks or equity mutual funds may provide growth that outpaces inflation over the long term. Adjusting savings allocations regularly to respond to changing inflation rates is also prudent. Avoid keeping large sums in low-interest cash accounts during high inflation periods. Instead, use those funds for short-term needs and direct the rest toward inflation-resilient investments. 6. The role of interest rates and central bank policies. Central banks adjust interest rates to control inflation, influencing borrowing costs and savings returns. When inflation rises, central banks may increase interest rates to slow spending, making loans more expensive but increasing savings yields. However, the lag between rate hikes and their effect on inflation can create a challenging environment for savers. Understanding monetary policy trends helps you anticipate changes in savings returns and inflation levels. Savvy savers monitor central bank announcements and economic indicators to time their moves, optimizing saving strategies based on macroeconomic conditions. 7. Long-term implications of inflation on retirement savings. Inflation poses a significant risk to retirement savings. Since retirement often spans decades, even modest inflation can drastically reduce the value of fixed retirement income or savings. Retirees relying heavily on fixed income or bonds may find their purchasing power shrinking steadily. Incorporating inflation-adjusted income streams, such as inflation-indexed annuities, or diversified portfolios including equities and real assets, can mitigate this risk. Planning for inflation during the accumulation and distribution phases of retirement is crucial. Failure to do so could mean facing higher living costs without sufficient financial resources to maintain your lifestyle. 8. Practical steps you can take right now. Start by reviewing your savings and investments with inflation in mind. Consider reallocating funds toward inflation-protected assets and diversify your portfolio to include stocks, real estate, or inflation-indexed bonds. Regularly monitor inflation trends and adjust your savings strategy accordingly. Build an emergency fund in a liquid account, but keep most savings in vehicles that offer growth potential. Educate yourself on economic indicators and central bank policies to stay ahead. Lastly, consult with a financial advisor to create a personalized plan that balances risk, liquidity, and inflation protection. Taking proactive steps today can help safeguard your financial future against inflation's silent but powerful erosion. Paragraph 9. Inflation's effect on debt and borrowing. While inflation erodes the value of savings, it can have a contrasting impact on debt. For borrowers with fixed-rate loans, inflation effectively reduces the real cost of their debt over time because they repay loans with cheaper dollars. This can be advantageous, particularly for long-term debts like mortgages or student loans. However, variable interest rate loans may become more expensive if central banks raise rates to combat inflation. Understanding this dynamic is important for savers who also hold debt, as managing both sides of their financial picture, assets and liabilities, can help mitigate inflation's overall effect on net worth. 10. Inflation and its impact on everyday financial decisions. Inflation affects not just long-term savings, but daily financial choices as well. Rising prices for groceries, fuel, housing, and healthcare force many households to tighten budgets, potentially reducing the amount they can save regularly. This inflation tax can derail savings goals if spending increases are not managed carefully. Creating and maintaining a realistic budget that factors in inflationary pressures can help maintain consistent saving habits. Additionally, seeking out discounts, switching to cost-effective alternatives, or negotiating bills can help offset some inflation-driven expenses, leaving more room for savings despite rising costs. If you like this video and would like to see more like it, please give it the thumbs up. Leave a comment and click the button to subscribe.